Today, the energy around the Niner gang hits different because 3 behind-the-scenes decisions and 1 heavy on-field adjustment could change everything down the stretch. There's a bombshell about the command of the offense, a potential reinforcement stolen off a rival's practice squad, a ton of uncertainty around one of the top receiving threats, and an aggressive plan to dismantle the Cardinals this weekend. The big question is simple. Are the 49ers really doing enough to keep this Super Bowl window open? You won't believe what we've got today. So get comfortable, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. We're starting with the topic that hits the 49ers faithful right in the heart. The Brock Purdy saga finally looks like it's heading toward a decisive chapter. It's been over a month since number 13 stepped on the field. Ever since that brutal turf toe injury in Week 1, then aggravated in his second game of the season. From that moment on, what was supposed to be a short pause turned into an endless sequence of maybe next week, and the fan base has been losing patience with every cautious update from the medical staff and Kyle Shanahan. This time, though, John Lynch completely changes the tone. Instead of the usual, "we'll see," the general manager made it clear in an interview with KNBR that if Purdy shows in practice the level they know he can play at, he'll be back as QB1 against the Cardinals on the road in a divisional matchup that could put the 49ers back on track. The detail here is that even without going on IR, Brock had been practicing in a limited fashion, part of the game plan, but always blocked at the final moment. Meanwhile, Mac Jones has held things down better than a lot of people expected. He's been competent, protected the football reasonably well, led important wins, and at several points made us seriously wonder if Shanahan would really have the guts to pull him from the starting lineup, but the truth is harsh. If this team wants to dream big, it needs the performance ceiling that only Purdy brings in this system, and that's where the cherry on top appears, the perfect opponent for his return. The Cardinals come in banged up with a patched-together roster and a defense nowhere near as intimidating as the Rams unit that smothered the Niners' offense last week. In theory, it's the ideal setting to shake off the rust, tighten up timing with his receivers, and test that injured foot without putting him in extreme danger. At the same time, the risk is huge. If he comes back and aggravates the injury again, the drama explodes and confidence crashes. That's exactly why this decision becomes the axis of the entire week. If Purdy really takes the field and plays at a high level, the message to the NFL is crystal clear. The franchise quarterback is back, and the race for the top of the NFC West starts over right now. But I want to hear from you. Putting him out there in this supposedly safer matchup, is that front office genius or irresponsible risk with the franchise's future? Would you start Purdy in this game? Let me know in the comments. If there's one thing that separates the teams that survive from the ones that collapse in November, it's the ability to find value where no one else is looking. And that's exactly where a name almost nobody in the country is talking about comes into play. But who might be the right piece at the most critical moment for this 49ers defense? Cameron McGrone, currently on the Cleveland Browns practice squad. The situation in the front seven without Fred Warner has turned into a wide-open hole in the middle of the field. And anyone who watched the last few games knows it's not an exaggeration to say the heart of this defense is beating weaker on every snap. This improvised committee with D. Winters, Nick Martin, Luke Gifford, and others gives you effort but not consistency. You see late reads, missed tackles, and clear trouble reacting to backfield motion that creates a chain reaction. The pass rush loses precious seconds. The secondary gets more exposed, and opposing drives drag on dangerously. It's no coincidence the team brought in veteran linebackers for workouts in recent weeks, showing they don't truly trust the current group. When the front office admits that in practice, it's because they're already looking for a fix. That's where McGrone shows up as a quiet reinforcement who makes sense on every level. Drafted by the Patriots in 2021, he's already been in systems that demand lateral speed, zone awareness, and discipline. Exactly the profile of linebacker who tends to flourish in the 49ers scheme. With the Colts, he gained real experience, playing regular season games, getting defensive snaps, and contributing seriously on special teams. And now, because he's on the Browns practice squad, he's completely within reach of any franchise willing to sign him to its 53-man roster. The fit is obvious. Ideal size and burst for a will linebacker, real NFL snaps under his belt, not the kind of guy who blows basic assignments and someone who boosts special teams right away. He's not coming in to be a star, but to keep the ship from sinking. And right now, that's exactly what this 49ers defense needs most. On top of that, the cost is minimal, with almost no cap impact and no need to give up draft picks. It's the classic smart move, cheap, fast, and with real upside. And while a lot of fans sit around waiting for big names, the NFL is built on these quiet in-season adjustments. If San Francisco wants to prove it's not asleep at the wheel while the season tightens up, McGrone is the perfect target. Because honestly, continuing to bet on improvisation in the middle of the field could end up costing some very expensive wins. When the topic is equal parts expectation and frustration, few stories this season match the roller coaster that Brandon Aiyuk's recovery has become. Back when he suffered that brutal combination of knee injuries, ACL and MCL, in the middle of the 2024 campaign, everyone knew the process would be long, but nobody, absolutely nobody in the 49ers faithful imagined that we would reach November of 2025, still debating whether number 11 is coming back or not. It was supposed to be about 4 games, maybe 6. Suddenly it turned into an endless fog of uncertainty. Every week, a new rumor. Every interview, a vague answer. And in John Lynch's latest appearance on KNBR, the feeling got even stranger. The general manager didn't rule out Aiyuk missing the entire season, but he also didn't offer any concrete sign that the wideout is close to returning. He talked about intention, about continuing to work, about waiting for the moment to open the window to activate him, but nothing that really calms down anyone watching this offense struggle without its top aerial weapon. You simply can't ignore the impact this has on Kyle Shanahan's system. Without Aiyuk, the offense loses separation, loses its vertical threat, loses that trusted receiver who turns contested catches into automatic first downs. It loses the mental pressure he puts on defenses, forcing deeper coverage and opening space for crossers and play action shots over the middle. Without him, everything feels more cramped, more predictable, easier to erase. The worst part is that the rhythm of the season itself works against him. The further into the schedule we go, the less sense it makes to force a return. If that activation window opens too late, if the knee still doesn't respond, if the confidence isn't there, the decision might be cruel but logical. Shut him down and protect the player for 2026, and that hurts because Aiyuk is one of the emotional pillars of this team, a symbol of what the 49ers want to be on offense. Lynch's comments in practice leave the door open for any outcome. Could he come back in December? Sure. Could he fail to play a single snap this year? Also possible. And the franchise's cautious silence traps the fan base in this strange psychological limbo in which every week seems to bring new hope, but no real proof of progress. In the end, that unavoidable question creeps in. Are we ready to accept that 2025 might end up being a lost chapter in Brandon Aiyuk's story? And in the middle of all these doubts about the roster, health, and defensive adjustments, there's one point nobody in the 49ers faithful can ignore. This game against the Cardinals has an obvious leading man, and he wears 23. Christian McCaffrey walks into this matchup with every sign pointing toward one of those performances that make the entire NFL stop and watch. That's not hype. That's straight matchup and context. With or without Purdy, with or without rhythm in the passing game, there's one undeniable truth. When this offense needs security, explosion, and identity, McCaffrey is the compass. The numbers show an Arizona defense completely vulnerable to CMC's style. In recent weeks, the Cardinals have been gashed on the ground, given up explosive runs, and shown huge trouble dealing with off-tackle and inside zone concepts. Exactly the bread and butter of the 49ers ground game when they want to punish opponents. Add in the fact that McCaffrey is lethal catching short passes, and you get a scenario that's almost impossible to defend for such an inconsistent unit. There's more. The 49ers have run into a recurring problem when the passing game doesn't get going early. Play action loses its teeth, crossing routes get more congested, and the entire system feels stuck. Feeding CMC early and often isn't just a stylistic choice. It's the most efficient way to unlock the rest of the offense and force immediate respect from the defense. When McCaffrey sets the tempo, opposing linebackers freeze, safeties crash downhill in desperation, and the whole field opens up for the concepts Shanahan loves the most. But the challenge isn't only on offense. On the other side, Trey McBride has basically become the engine of the Cardinals' attack. Without Marvin Harrison Jr. and with a shortage of real impact weapons, the tight end turned into Jacoby Brissett's first, second, and third read on almost every snap. That makes this one of those games where the 49ers defense needs to be nearly perfect with its intermediate coverage, especially considering the recent ups and downs in that area. If McBride takes over, Arizona stays alive. If he's contained, their offense shrinks. Finally, there's the element that could completely tilt the game, the use of play action and under center looks. When the run game gets rolling, the 49ers become a mismatch machine over the middle. exactly where this Cardinals defense is most vulnerable. If McCaffrey sets the tone and the offense layers play action on top of that, the explosives will be there. So here's the simple question. Are we about to watch another one of those nights where Christian McCaffrey puts the entire team on his back? And after everything we've broken down today, Purdy's potential return, the smart move from McGrone, the heavy uncertainty around Aiyuk, and a matchup that screams McCaffrey takeover, it's clear the 49ers are at that point in the season where every decision carries playoff weight. Nothing is guaranteed, nothing is simple, and nothing is too small to shift the direction of this campaign. The faithful feels it, the locker room feels it, and the entire NFL is paying attention. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 4 storylines hits you the hardest as a fan? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe, and let's keep this red and gold conversation rolling.